Okay, hello. My name is Juneteeenth Myers, and I am the founder of Sankofa Educational Leadership United. I am coming to you today because today is the fourth day of our week-long celebration of Juneteenth. And today we are doing soul food cooking with Dal. And so we have a lot of information for you to be able to take in, but also some additional information for you to be able to cook your own soul food dish. So our time together today is going to be, 4 pieces to our presentation today. We are going to talk about soul food and Black culture. We are going to tell you what you need for this recipe that's going to be demonstrated to you. And we are going to show you how to make a mean dish of greens. And then we're going to give you some nutritional information about why are soul food greens good for your body. And then that's how we'll end our time today. So before we get started with Marie, I just want to give you a little bit of information on soul food and Black culture. So soul food has its origins in Georgia, Mississippi, Alabama, Arkansas, a collection of states referred to as the Deep South, right? So during the transatlantic slave trade, our people were forced in bondage and were given meager food rations. The foods that were offered were often, in low quality and low nutritional value. So our people who were forced in bondage tried to preserve African food traditions. And so they adapted those meager food means into traditional African recipes with the resources that they had available. Over time, these recipes have become what we call now today soul food dishes. So when you think about soul food in Black culture, soul food in 2020 is associated with comfort, decadence, and a good time. But we can't forget that soul food was born out of a struggle for survival. Soul food has a rich and important history that ties Black culture to its African roots. Soul food history is deeply reflected in the staple recipes and techniques of African cooking, which hold 4 key ingredients that establish a historical link to America's dark slavery past and the African cultures of our people in bondage carried with them. And those 4 pieces are rice, okra, pork, and greens. So now I'm going to introduce you to Dal as she takes you through the steps of what you need, what are the ingredients that you need to be able to do this recipe with us.
Good afternoon. My name is Dal, and I'm going to talk to you today about collard greens. Collard greens are like, okay, we having a barbecue. You ain't got no greens, girl. What's wrong with you? Okay, so today we're going to be mindful when we make our collard greens so that we can maintain health. Filling out a source, collard greens. Want some pep in your step? Collard greens. So now we're going to do collard greens based on intuitive eating. So first of all, you have to have 4 bunches of collard greens. We're going to start with the collard greens, and you pull them from the stem. You de-stem them and discard the collard green stem. That's the first step. Just take it off. And then you stack them. Stack them on top of each other. And then you roll them. And cut them into a 1/4 inch strip, because a good hostess is mindful of their guests. You don't want a big piece of collard green, hard to swallow, for somebody to choke. So you're just going to do that until you have done like the whole set of bunches that you have. You de-stem, you cut a 1/4 inch strip, because now you want them to enjoy it wholeheartedly. So you're conscious of your guests, and you're cutting it small enough so that you have nice bite-sized pieces. Quick and easily done. You just get a stack and roll.
So can we move the bowl because people can't see what you're doing?
Okay. Remove the bowl. You see now?
Mm-hmm.
Good. So now we're going to just cut it into those strips. Quarter an inch. Make sure that they're de-stemmed.
So when you say de-stem, you're meaning the base stem in the middle.
The main root of the collard green.
Okay.
Of the collard green leaf, I should say. So then you remove that large leaf, because I mean, some people have cooked with it, but people that like a good delectable green take the stem out. The other veins are fine, but that main stem, you need to take it out because it's kind of chewy and it takes away from the flavor. Quarter an inch. Easily done. Easy peasy. So now, after you've done that, you take them over to the sink.
So we're on step 3 of the process, right? The first step was to stem the collard greens, and you saw Marie do that. Stack and roll collard greens and cut into 1/4 inch strips. Now she is transferring those to the sink. And you can see her over there at the sink.
And this is when you're very careful with your salt. Gotta have salt because this is an abrasion to get any dirt or impurities off of your greens.
Mm-hmm.
And be liberal with your salt. Sprinkle it over it. Remember, you're not gonna digest this. This is just a cleaning agent for your it's an edible cleaning agent for your greens.
Okay, so that's the 4th step. Sprinkle generously with salt, and you're using the salt as a cleaning agent,
right,
for the green.
Okay, you run it in the water. The first time it's going to be a little green. And what you do is you drain that water off. And then you liberally sprinkle with salt again.
So you toss and turn all the strips in water with salt to remove all the debris. And you repeat the process until the water is clear.
Vigorous. Vigorously clean. And see, it used to be you went from the garden to the kitchen to the, to the picking to the cleaning. These days they power wash them, but old school, you got a garden, you going out there and pick a mess of greens for dinner, lunch, whatever. And you do that until your water is clear. Now, what we're doing is intuitive cooking, so there's a few tricks that we're going to use to still have that bountiful flavor, but we're going to try to use less sugar, less salt, less fat. So we'll put the greens into the pot.
So after you repeat the process until the water is clear, you transfer the collard strips to a large pot, which you've just seen Dal do.
Okay, trick number one. This is chickens, unsalted chicken stock. Gives your greens more body. Unsalted, not 33%.
Can you hold that up to the camera a little bit?
And it comes in different brands. This just happens to be the seller today.
Mm-hmm.
Unsalted meaning it is 5 or 6% salt. Not 33, not 28, not 15, not 18. 5 or 6% salt. Very important factor. This is 32 ounces. Put the full 32 ounces in. This will be 32 ounces of water, but we're using chicken stock or vegetable stock if you're a vegetarian.
So now we are at the step of add all dry ingredients, add meat, add chicken or vegetable broth, and do not add okra. What you just seen is Dal add in the chicken broth, and now she is going for the dry seasonings.
Okay, so you need 1/4 of a cup. A 1/4 of a cup of olive oil. 1/4 of a cup. I'm just gonna eyeball it.
The cups are right there, right next to you.
Oh, okay. It's 1/4 of a cup of olive oil.
So she said put 1/4 of a cup in, but she's a master at making greens. She can eyeball that.
So extra virgin olive oil. This is to lower the fat. This is a good fat. So this olive oil. You're going to use chicken.
Some chicken.
Now this is a staple that I kind of use a lot. And you put 3 tablespoons in there.
3 tablespoons of chicken into the greens. Okay,
And then
now what are
also-
you working on?
You're gonna put in some garlic, minced garlic. I'm gonna put 3 tablespoons of minced garlic. For vegetarian, this is where they get their meat taste from, but this is also a natural antibiotic, and it does add flavor to the food.
So that is minced garlic that she's putting in. And how much are you going to put in of that now?
I'm going to put in 3 tablespoons of minced garlic.
Okay, 3 tablespoons of minced garlic.
Remember, we're doing intuitive cooking.
Intuitive cooking.
Okay, this is green seasoning.
Okay, she's using green seasoning. How much of that are you going to put in?
I'm going to put in like a tablespoon of it.
A tablespoon of green seasoning. So we've had chicken, garlic, minced garlic, now green seasoning. What else goes in there?
If you were going to add meat, we're making this vegetarian. If you're going to add meat, you would add meat now.
Okay.
And you put that on about medium heat, and then you cook it for 1 hour and 15 minutes.
Turn the other way. Yeah. Is it lit? No, the back one is lit. Okay. Make sure that gas is turned all the way off on the other one.
Okay, so then you let that cook for 1 hour and 15 minutes.
So there you have it. You let that cook for 1 hour and 15 minutes with the dry ingredients, the meat, and the chicken or vegetable broth. On here it says don't add okra yet.
Yeah, you don't add okra until the very end, about the last 10 minutes of cooking. So
Okay.
you cook it for that hour and 15 minutes, and then you put the okra in, and let it cook for about 10 minutes. Stir well. It gives your body and it tastes good.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, while we are doing a little bit of cooking and waiting to add in the okra, I am going to talk a little bit about some of the nutritional benefits of greens. So let's go to that slide too, so you can follow along with me. So, hi, Juneteeenth, back with you. I am going to talk about the nutritional values of soul food. And you'd be really surprised about how many nutritional values soul food has. So we got collard greens, and they have been associated with cancer prevention. They have been associated with detox support, like when you want to detox your body. They have anti-inflammatory properties. So like people that suffer from arthritis, collard greens can help them with the inflammatory processes of arthritis. And it's associated with heart health. And there's also, you know, digestive support. So being able to regularly have bowel movements and things like that, greens will be able to help with that. The other thing that greens are good for is they are very high in vitamin A. And vitamin A is actually associated with something called sebum, and it keeps the hair moisturized. So think about a pot of greens a day and your hair is moisturized. That is nice. Collard greens are also high in vitamin C, which enables the body to build and maintain levels of collagen, which provides structure to the skin and to the hair. So that's really nice too. you know, there's a lot of different ways to do greens. What we're demonstrating to you today is having greens being made in a vegetarian manner. But it's something nice to be able to put in your diet. Also, collard greens are a great source of iron. A great source of iron. And so when you think about the things that iron is really good for, iron can help with your energy. And it can also, if you are lacking iron, you can have fatigue in your body. So collard greens are a really good source of iron. And so it looks like Dal is almost ready for us to come back to her. But let's just talk a little bit about soul food, the nutritional values, because soul food kind of gets a bad rep sometimes. And that bad rep comes from people thinking that soul food isn't good for your body. Well, when you think about things like collard greens are good for your body. What makes soul food bad for your body is when we're not cooking with fresh ingredients and we're using a lot of preservatives and sugars and salts. You notice that Dal did not use any salt. She used salt to clean the greens with water, but she never added any salt back into the pot of greens for seasoning. And so soul food's unhealthy reputation grows more with celebration of food, because the processing foods enter the diet as people become more prosperous too, because they're using more preservatives to add to the food to make it last longer, to make it fresher. But all those things add to the unhealthy parts of soul food. So, Darlene, are you ready for us?
Yes.
Okay, so we are going to go back to Darlene, and she is going to talk more about how to make these collard greens.
Okay, the holiday and the greens are on the way. So we have greens with meat, and we have a vegetarian style. The difference in the recipe would be a slight adjustment. You can use the vegetarian broth for either one. I just lean on the meat side for the meat one. And when we're choosing meats, this is part of the thing that makes, when we were using on survival mode, we become more savvy with our choices these days. So what you would use is a meat like turkey or chicken. And smoked turkey or chicken works very well with the greens. The breast seems to have, not the breast, but the thigh seems to have more natural fats in it. But that's also why you're using the olive oil, because that does affect the body and the taste of the greens. And then also to help the body with the greens is the okra. The okra is a natural thickener for your green sauce or green juice. So it's a win-win situation. The greens are on the table, and you don't have to feel guilty about that extra plate of greens. That's all.
I love it. I love it. So in the small bowl, there's vegetarian greens.
There's vegetarian greens, no.
And so the only thing she added after the seasoning from the vegetarian greens is she added the okra. And then with the meat, greens that have meat in it. She added the meat during the seasoning portion and then still waited until the last 10 minutes of that hour and 15 minutes to add the okra. Okay? We just want to let you know so that you can make your own mean pot of greens
And not feel guilty about it.
and not feel guilty about it. So thank you for joining us for our time of cooking soul food with Val. If you would like a copy of the recipe sent to you, you can please email us at info@sankofaelu.com. And we hope that you come back tomorrow during our talk back around the history of Juneteenth and why this is a historical Juneteenth in 2020. Thank you.
I guess you can cook this.